Hey guys, it's Lu here, going back to my channel. So finally guys, I have brought the long-lasting, waterproof, summer, high coverage base makeup tutorial for today because oh my goodness, it's so hot guys. Like if someone slapped me while I was walking outside, I wouldn't even notice because it was that hot. Of course, I had to bring this video for you guys. And I also thought I would review my top 3 picks for the long-lasting foundations and then we'll move on to the tutorial itself. So let's get started ahora. First of all, I sweat a lot. Like I know you guys probably think I'm kidding or I'm exaggerating when I say I sweat like crazy, but trust me, like my friends, they also laugh at me because they think I'm being funny when I tell them I sweat a lot. But then when they meet me in summer, they're like, oh, I see, you're being serious, you do sweat a lot. I have never met anyone else who sweats more than I do in summer. I know it's very attractive, right? And on top of that, I would test them out through boot camp. So these foundations have been through a lot, so show them love. And so my top 3 picks are ta-da! So let me quickly just review these 3 before we move on to the tutorial. And first I'm going to start with the classic. This is the Etude House Double Lasting Foundation. My goodness, I had forgotten what a good foundation this was. To be honest, I had kept myself from using this for a while just because I just found that this foundation oxidized a bit on my skin, and so I wasn't too crazy about that. But it's summer, and of course we're a bit all tan, so the difference or the oxidization isn't as obvious. This foundation has good longevity, good coverage, does not emphasize my pores, which was one of the big things. Like that was one thing that I've noticed while I was testing out these products. A lot of the mattifying foundations and cushions, they would emphasize my pores like crazy, and I was just like, no thank you, I don't need to be reminded of how big my pores are. So but this didn't do that. And also this didn't get messy after my workout. Like after end of the very long hot humid day, it would still look okay. Like it wasn't like pristine, of course. I've noticed that there is no such foundation that would just last throughout the whole day. It doesn't exist, guys. It's like unicorns or like hot, sexy, nice guys. Now, the 2 downsides of this foundation is that, first of all, like I said, it oxidizes, and also I'm not a big fan of its scent. It does carry that kind of baby powder Johnson & Johnson scent. It does disappear after a while, so it's not a big deal. But apart from that, I think this is a foundation that a lot of people will be able to enjoy. Now for my second pick, I do have this Hanyul Cover Foundation. This is the renewed version, and I did mention this in one of my summer specials video. And back then, mind you, it was a bit more dry and chillier then. It wasn't completely summer. So I wasn't too fond of it then because it kept on creasing and like emphasizing my smile lines. However, now that it's absolutely humid and hot, it has been working great. Likewise, it does emphasize my pores. It goes on really well, blends out really nicely, has decent amount of longevity, good coverage, and so this is also a good kind of basic foundation that would appeal to a lot of people. Now the only downside of this foundation is that in terms of the actual length of the longevity, it wasn't as long as the other 2. So for example, the other 2 products, let's say they last around like 10 hours. This one would last around like 6 to 7 hours before melting away and kind of disappearing. Luckily, it doesn't get messy, and that's why it's still in my top picks. But as for like the length of that longevity, it's not as long. So that is the downside. So bear that in mind. Now the last one I have here, ooh, this one is wow. So this is the Glokolor Fix On Foundation. The thing is, I haven't seen anyone talk about this product, but it is also a liquid foundation that, wow, this one is mattifying AF. Especially when you first apply it, it dries out and fixates itself like that. But the reason why this was in my top picks was, first, considering how matte it went on, it also didn't emphasize my pores. And also, this foundation just made my skin look even more prettier as time went by. It would just mix so well and nicely with my sweat and sebum that my face just kept glowing and glowing. Now, of course, if you're not into that, you're not gonna like it. But for me, I just love the fact that it didn't make my skin look messy at the end of the day, but it just looked really nice. Like, ooh, I wish I was born like this, you know? Now, there are, of course, downsides to this beautiful product. First of all, is its accessibility. I tried looking this online to see if there are any like links so that my international viewers can also have access to it. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a single link to this product. So retailers out there, if you're watching, please include this product because I think it is a wonderful one. The second one is that it only carries 2 shades. Oof, I know. I'm a little iffy about that too. And also with the shades, there is a bit of grayishness to it. It's not a very bright yellowish pinkish shade. So it does make my skin look a little dull when I first apply it. And that's why I have to use a color corrector. And third, it's a little difficult to work with just because, like I said, it mattifies itself instantly. You have to work area by area just because it fixates itself so quickly. Other than that, I think this is a really good product to try out in the summer. So that was my 3 picks. Now, if you guys have any questions about like other products, like for example, the Hera Black Cushion and the product that I have used, ask me down in the comments and I will do my best to answer you guys and tell you what I thought about them. But yeah, now let's move on to the tutorial itself. I'm going to skip right on over to Suncream because Suncream is essential. It's super important. This is the Apieu Pure Block Daily Suncream, and yes, I am currently preparing affordable K-Beauty's products, skincare products. And this is one of the products that I've been testing out, and it's swell. It's really good, yeah. Alright, so for the first step of this routine, I am going to use the Code Glokolor L Fix On Primer. So this is basically a mattifying primer, but I like it because it's really easy to work with. It has almost a lotion gel type kind of consistency, and it also seems to fill up my pores a bit around my cheeks. I like to apply it on my forehead, around my butterfly zone, we like to call it in Korea, because I have a lot of pores, I should say, and then on my chin as well and around here, because I sweat here. I didn't even know that was an area that you could sweat. And then I'm going to apply this Fix and Fix Primer Tone Up. Just because all of the formulas were really matte, they kind of made my skin look dull. So I just found myself reaching out for a color corrector to kind of brighten up my dullness, I guess. With this Etude House one, it's great because it's not a subtle one, so it actually shows. But for me, just because these foundations are like so matte and they really do make my skin look dull, I'm like, no, I need more than subtle, guys. I need mass. I'm just gonna apply it here as well. Here. So just any areas that I want to cancel out any dullness and redness as well. Great. So for today's video, I'm gonna try these 2 products on each side. So let's start off with the Hanyul 21C Cover Foundation. So even though it's a liquidy one, it's not a complete fluidy type. It does kind of have that viscosity. Oh, I forgot to show you guys. So I don't know if you guys can see due to the sunlight, but I do have a bit of hyperpigmentations to cover here and there. And I had a humongous zit right there, right? Smack daddy in the middle. I don't get any hormonal acne anymore, but I do get these occasional acne because I have acne prone skin. It's like these acnes are so obsessed with me, right? I'm just like, leave me alone. But anyway, so I do have a little bit to cover here and there. But you guys see that I don't actually use a concealer because it's just too hot to use a concealer. So I just go in with a foundation that has good coverage like this. Blend it in. It doesn't have like the perfect coverage, right? So I like to kind of build it on. And because these foundations already have such big coverage, you can use them, double them as a concealer. I think the greatest appeal about the Hanyul foundation is that, especially in a hot, humid summer weather like this, it's just a nice foundation that most people can get on with. It's not too mattifying, it's not too long-lasting, it's not too like high coverage. So it's just a foundation that sits somewhere in the middle. So I think that's its most appealing point, if that makes any sense. So this is the finish of the foundation. Like you guys can see, it's not completely mattifying. You can see a hint of that glow. I would say this is kind of like semi-matte almost, but it does a pretty good job in lasting through the heat and the humidity. Next, I'm going to apply this Fix On foundation on the other side. I'm going to use a brush to first evenly spread out onto my skin, and then I'm going to blend it in with a brush. So what is that? So on this side, I don't have, oh, I do, never mind. I do have hyperpigmentations. I do have some here. Oh my gosh, this was an acne I popped yesterday. It was an easy one though. Some redness here. I have a huge ass hyperpigmentation on my chin. Let me zoom you guys in. And then I have some hyperpigmentations, like random spots here and there, and I have a couple of sunspots on my high areas. So with this one, it does give you a pretty good coverage. But like I said, you have to work it in fast because immediately it fixates on, like it fixates itself. Just gonna blend that in. And then just for the places I need extra coverage, I'm just gonna tap this on and then gently blend that in. Okay, so there we have it. You can see that it is so much more matte than the Hanyul one. Of course, this side is getting more sunlight, but even if you look at it in real life, you can totally tell that this side feels a bit more flat because it's that matte. And of course, after the foundation, I cannot live without the Etude House 픽스앤픽스 fixer powder. For me, like, it can't get better than this. This is super affordable. There's so much more product, and it actually does a good job in soaking up like all the sebum and sweat. So like I said, this is not an elegant powder. If you're looking for something that's gonna give you that nice velvety finish, this ain't it, girl. But if you just wanted to do its job, like mattify my face, yeah, this is the one to go. So I'm just gonna take a bit on the Real Techniques brush. I sweat a lot on my forehead, guys, like no joke. So I think using a smaller brush like this helps, just because you can really get meticulous with where you powder. Like you can really get at the sides of the nose. Now I'm just going to finish the rest of my makeup and I'll be back. Alright, so I just finished the rest of my makeup, and for the cherry on top, I'm going to spray this Urban Decay De-Slick Makeup Setting Spray. I still haven't been able to find a good setting spray out of the K-Beauty products, so if you guys know any, please let me know in the comments down below, because it should be illegal to make something that smells like this. It literally smells like someone spit, but it works. So gotta hold your breath for this, girl. So that is how I do my makeup in order to survive the heat, the humidity, the boot camp. Let me know how it works for you guys, because of course every skin is different. I would love to see your opinion and your thoughts on this makeup tutorial, base makeup tutorial. Don't forget to press like, subscribe if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram at _SueBeauty, because I have a very big surprise coming up, especially if you live in Singapore. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So make sure to follow me on Instagram. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Ciao!